¿Qué tal? Estamos aquí en GPLA, en Magic Fest Los Ángeles. Estamos con Tom Martell y Sam Black. Queremos saber, we're here with Tom Martell and Sam Black. We want to ask you, what do you think about the modern format for the GP?
This current one, not the new Mulligan rule or anything like that.
Well, we're going to ask about that next.
I think the current modern format is pretty interesting. There's a lot of buzz around Phoenix being the best thing, but it's still so new that it's still really interesting to see how people are building with it, how people are adapting to it and adjusting to it, which decks are good against it that maybe people will rise to compete against it. In this tournament, for example, I'm playing Dredge partially because I know that Phoenix is very popular and I believe that Dredge is a good deck against Phoenix. And so it'll be interesting to see if, I know that going into this tournament I heard a lot of different people saying that Phoenix is great. And then during this tournament, Luis, who's doing coverage, tweeted that on the matches that they were watching in the feature match area, Phoenix looked very powerful. And so that's just more and more voices on this is the thing to be doing. But as more and more people say that, people get to adjust to it, and maybe all the decks that are good against it become decks that people play more, all the decks that are bad people play less, the format adjusts, and then it's just another thing. But it'll be interesting to see what that modern format looks like.
If Phoenix is the deck to beat, then the sideboard that beats it doesn't beat Dredge as well? I mean,
so, no,
not really.
It's not correct to interact with Phoenix as a graveyard deck because so much of its strength is on Thing in the Ice, and it's more of a spell kind of deck than a graveyard kind of deck, really.
Having surgical extraction specifically is probably fine, but beyond that, if you're bringing Leyline of the Void, that's just not the angle you want to attack. They also have Crackling Drakes, which don't care that their cards are exiled because it gets pumped.
Yeah, Crackling Drake is a big thing, right?
Yeah. So I agree with everything Sam said. I think it's a really interesting modern format right now. I'm playing the Phoenix deck. It's a lot of fun to play. It's very hard to play. There's a lot of interesting decisions, so I think it's a skill testing deck, which is a good deck to have be the best deck. It'll be interesting to see as the format evolves. It's been a while, I think, since Modern has had a deck to beat that's so pronounced. I think it's been since Splinter Twin was kind of the best deck that really focused on something in so direct a fashion. So I imagine that the metagame will evolve in a way where it stabilizes into Phoenix decks, anti-Phoenix decks, and then anti-Phoenix decks. It'll be a fun place to be.
And you talk about this new Modern format, that's with the KCI banning, right? That's what you mean?
Yeah, definitely.
Well, and the printing of Arclight and the discovery of how to build those decks, and then also so there's both the Thing in the Ice Arclight deck and then the Mono Red Arclight deck. And the Mono Red Arclight deck leans really heavily on cards from Ravnica Allegiance.
Yep.
So when you have a Clear the Stage, Skewer the Critics deck, that's really a totally new thing.
Yeah, those cards are very powerful. I mean, it just this set was really good for Modern and really has changed it's shaken up the metagame a lot.
All right. And what about now the new Mulligan rule?
That
we were just talking about this last night.
It'll be interesting to see if London looks anything like a regular Modern tournament. I know that...
So you're expecting a lot of changes because of the Mulligan rule?
It's possible. We don't know yet.
Yeah, I haven't started testing it because I was preparing for this event. But I know that the way that I plan to approach London to begin with is I'm just going to try to use all the busted turn 2 and 3 combo decks and just see how often I can get them to go off, and I'm going to be testing them against Chalice decks, and I'm going to be playing a lot of Gemstone Caverns. It's going to be a whole different thing. I'm not starting my testing with playing Modern decks. I'm starting my testing with building busted combo decks.
I mean, why not? You top it with the Shoal deck, right? When the Modern started.
I'm imagining London as Philly Take-Two, not as just another Modern tournament.
Yep, and I agree with that. I think we don't know yet the exact impact, but I think, and it's possible we get to the end of that and it actually looks like you play the normal decks. But I think you need to start by trying to break it and see where you go.
And you think that Wizard would change the Mulligan rule, or maybe just ban some cards and make it stable like that?
Either of those is possible. I think banning is hard in that environment because if it's broken,
it's gonna be too many.
So many things are gonna be broken, and they're about to add a bunch of new cards into Modern through the new Modern set that's coming out. So I think banning will be a hard way to solve this problem. And you don't even get into Vintage, older Legacy, where it's even more pronounced. So I think Modern's an interesting inflection point. Does it go too far? If it's too far from Modern, I think you can't roll out the rule. But if it works for Modern, they'll probably just let Legacy and Vintage be
if Modern works, then everything is going to be...
Yeah, I agree. I think that the reason they're testing it with the Modern PT is to see if Pro Tour players can break it. If it looks like a regular Modern tournament, if, the top 8 involves, like, Phoenix and, like, some kind of control deck and just, like, normal Modern decks do well, then I think they'll just be like, great, this is the rule. But if the format's totally different, then I think that I would guess, have to consider sticking with the current Modern rule for Mulligan and consider whether they want to say Eternal formats use the old Mulligan rule, non-Eternal formats use this new rule, or if they'll want to say this new rule is just for limited or what. I wouldn't be surprised if they stick with trying to do something with it and they're trying to see if it can be applied to all of Magic or not.
The challenge is, like, eventually, though, I think if it is busted in that way, you'll get a standard format where the same thing happens. Like in this current one with, like, Reclamation, it's tricky. It's a dangerous road to go down if it actually turns out that busted decks get even more busted.
I think that you can make standard work.
You can. You have less margin for error.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, yes, you might have to ban a card now. I don't even know if you do, though, because it's not fast combo decks.
Sure.
The combo decks aren't about your opening hand. And so maybe some point down the line, but I think they're trying to avoid that kind of card anyway.
Yeah, it's true.
Well, what I like about is that Wizard is trying to do something. They want to change so the games are not non-games, how they call it. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I think it's great. I mean, I think having a very lopsided, mold of 5. I don't know how much it actually matters in a game of limited. This Moon Mulligan rule, the mold of 5, you're still going to lose most of the time. Like, maybe you get to play a couple extra lands, but so many limited games come down to just trading resources one for one. So I don't know how much it's going to help there if it actually solves the problem, but at least they're trying.
Well, at least they're doing something.
I actually really disagree. I think the Mulligan rule matters a lot for limited. I think that it makes it much better to draft like 16 land aggro decks, where it's like really important to hit both your colors early and hit your curve. And like a lot of those decks, like you get some, like when you're just like going for your opponent's life total rather than for like an attrition strategy or something, the impact of having like a 2-power creature on turn 1, if you have that kind of deck, or just like hitting your 2-drop, that's going to be like 8 damage over the course of the game. That's easily the difference between winning and losing, and it doesn't matter if you have another card in your hand or not. And so like those kind of decks especially just get way better, and I think that kind of changes how you should be drafting and what kind of decks are going to succeed in limited.
5 drops and over get worse.
A little bit worse because aggro decks get better, but I mean, it's still powerful cards are going to be powerful and are going to win limited.
A little better because you can just put them on the bottom when you roll the 6. You don't keep a 6-drop in your hand, so then it kind of goes both ways. Yeah.
But yeah, I think that like it really is the case that but when you mulligan to 6 in limited, it's very easy to just like, this is an extra land I don't need. This is like this is like my 23rd card or whatever. And I think that when you mull to 5, it's not, oh, I really hope my hand is kind of playable. You'll mull to 5 and you'll be like, I'm down some resources, but I can play a game of Magic.
But in limited, Wizards could maybe fix it by designing the sets different. Wouldn't you agree?
Potentially.
Yeah, I mean, certainly, when I'm talking about like aggro decks are going to get better, that's something they're going to have to keep in mind when they build a set. And it'll come out kind of naturally in their testing, where they're just like, oh, our aggro decks are winning too much. Let's, decrease the power of this creature, increase the casting cost here or whatever. I do think that we might have like a year or two where the aggro decks are better than they intended because they weren't necessarily building these sets with the mulligan rule in mind. But once they start internally testing limited sets with this mulligan rule in line, their testing should naturally correct it.
And talking about limited and competitive, how do you like Arena, Magic Arena for competitive play?
So it's great. Obviously, I think everyone probably feels that way. I think it's not the same as traditional limited, right? If you're drafting only on Arena, that's not preparing you for like a Pro Tour draft. I think it's very, very different. But for constructing especially, it's you're just playing Magic. It's great.
Yeah, it's just the fastest way to play a game. And like Magic Online was the fastest way in terms of like you didn't have to like leave your house. But here, like the gameplay is just so fast and smooth because you don't have to like tap your lands and stuff like that. It's just like the game is just like each game just physically takes less time than Paper or Magic Online by like an amount that I really feel when I'm just playing a bunch of games.
I played a couple of Modern leagues on Moto for this tournament. I was like, what the heck? How did we do this for so long? Like, I have to like tap really lands. It's brutal now. Yeah.
And how do you like the new format, the duo standard for the Invitational? I mean, as pro players,
not invited. Don't know.
Yeah, it doesn't affect us yet.
Would you like it to be on the as a format, as a real format? I mean,
I hate change, so
it's not that I hate change, but I do I like the way that sideboarding works, and I think that I prefer sideboarding to like having a different deck. And I don't really like the like rock paper scissors element to this, where it's just like, all right, well, I know which one of these I want depending on what you're playing, and it's like can be potentially be really swingy and just straight up get I prefer sideboarding.
Yeah, sideboard is most preferred by pro players, but what about preferring best of one to this format?
Yeah, so I just...
It doesn't really matter.
I mean, I just haven't played enough best of one to really understand it yet.
Okay.
For physical tournaments, I like sideboarding and playing a match. You're going through all the trouble of like getting out here, getting pairings, finding your person. Like, there's just, if you imagine a physical tournament that's best of one, you just don't play that much Magic because it's all just walking around and waiting for pairings. So I think best of one's great for Arena when you want to sit down for just a little while.
Yeah, just churning matches.
Paper, best of three.
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Of course.
And good luck.
Thank you, appreciate it.
¿Qué tal? Estamos con el campeón Michael Bernat, el campeón del Grand Prix de Los Ángeles. We're here with the champ. We just want to ask you, how do you see Modern now? Do you like it? I mean, you're gonna like it, right? But
I don't know. Honestly, I'm not that big of a fan of Modern. I think it's the most variance-heavy format. So,
more variants than Legacy?
Yeah, more variants than Legacy. Yeah, so I don't know.
All right.
It is what it is. There's a lot of fun stuff that the decks do, but generally they're just kind of like mashing heads against each other, and whoever has the better draw kind of usually gets there for the most. So that's just my opinion. Well, obviously, I think I ran really well to win in the tournament.
To win the tournament.
Yeah.
All right. And what deck do you play?
Is it Phoenix?
Is it Phoenix? Oh,
yeah, and that's the only deck that I really knew how to play. So.
Okay. Well, I've heard many pros that they say this is the best deck. So this is the deck to beat in Modern.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's pretty good. Until you start running into too much burn, then that's kind of
that's the hard matchup.
That's the hard matchup, yeah.
Okay. Really so then, and talking about competitive, how do you like MTG Arena for competitive play?
I like it. I've been having a blast on Arena. It's pretty fun.
Do you play much?
Yeah, I played. I did pretty good. I didn't go for the grind for the top 8 last month, but
Are you planning to grind for the top 1,000 for the week?
Yeah, 1,000 should be easy. I got 199 last month, so.
That's very good. More people are gonna grind now, so it's not.
Yeah, maybe it'll be harder, but.
And what do you think about the format? The standard format for the invitational they're gonna have?
Oh, honestly I haven't played any matches with it, so I don't have much of a comment.
Okay. Do you think it's good that Arena has different format than physical?
I guess so. Maybe it's better for bringing new players in. I think sideboard is a pretty important thing, though. So like for higher level matches, I like having the sideboard. You'd
rather stay with the standard and.
Yeah, but if they can simplify things and make it more interesting for new people to watch, that's good for everyone if they can draw more people into the game. So.
And you're gonna be on the Mythic Championship for the London, right?
Yeah.
And how do you like the new Mulligan rule?
I don't think it changes as much as a lot of people think that it changes things, but maybe I'll be wrong.
You don't think the sky is falling and combo's gonna be like?
Yeah, I still think a mulligan to 5 is a mulligan to 5, and it's not great.
You better test it then. Then you got a lot of opinion of it.
I don't know. Yeah, that's what it's going to be hard. All my testing is online, so I don't know how I'm going to test it. Hopefully I'm right, and it doesn't matter that much.
Hopefully, man. The Phoenix is going to be very good with the new Mulligan, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure if I'm going to even play it.
Okay. All right. Well, congratulations and good luck on London.
Thank you.